give you kind of the things that have been really cranking conversions. And again, some of it is a little more marketing stuff. It's more bigger picture things, but very powerful nonetheless, obviously. So, I keep going to this because it's so. This is where literally we're doubling or tripling the value of our customers, and it's, as Dean Jackson says, profit activator number one. Who's your target market? So I'll give you an example. In the music business or in the instructional music market, it's guys 45 years old and up. Just that piece, because we separated all the age groups and we saw, and this is a shitload of data across shitloads of instruments, that there were 3 times more than the younger guys.
Yep.
So, you can't, that's always a great thing to look at, and it's always a far more nano that I think most people default to. And as a big overarching principle, I think the money is in the older crowd. I mean, 40 to 65 is where the money is in a lot of markets right
100%.
now. Yeah. So that's kind of the first thing. As far as copywriting, I mean, there's no bigger shortcut than literally copying by hand the winners. I know it sounds weird, but if you understand neurology, how the brain works, if you copy something by hand, you're using, I think, about 10,000 neurons, versus if you type, it's about like 8 or 10. It's literally that much of a difference, because the patterns with your fingers get very repetitive, and you're not really engaging the mind that much. And what I've found is, literally, as I'm copying things by hand, I'm starting to speak like they do in my head.
Yeah.
And that's where the magic begins. So, that's something I learned from Gary Halbert. Is kind of one of the things he would do is copy stuff before he would write. And he was doing this, I mean, he was like 65, and he would copy stuff by hand for about 10 minutes to get into the groove before he'd start. So that was his shortcut, and I think it's just very effective.
Smart.
And, and the key is always to copy winning copy, though, right?
Yeah.
So going to ClickBank. Here's one of the things I think is powerful. You go to ClickBank, you find that even the top VSLs, you get them transcribed, and then you copy that by hand. So it's a little bit of a process, and it's an investment. But if you're looking for an edge, I think that's it. As far as great copy, I think Chris Haddad is one of the best.
Yeah. Money Fingers.
Yeah, Money Fingers. I mean, any of his VSLs, like, he's at that next level, in my opinion, of just, he's saying things, he's saying things that people are thinking, but are a little bit scared to say.
Yeah.
Which is really, I mean, because I'm listening to his copy or reading it, or even hearing him describe it, and I'm just like, fuck, he's just saying exactly like what I'm really thinking.
Who's he working with right now? Because I haven't seen, like, I used to watch some of his YouTube stuff.
He owns Digital Romance.
Digital Romance, okay.
That's his business.
Okay.
So anything you find, and he's got some of the top product. I mean, it's a dating romance business.
Yeah.
So he has a lot of the top products in the space.
It's interesting because we were both talking about, like, neuromarketing, and as I'm listening to the book, he's the guy that keeps popping up to me, like, that does this masterfully, because he talks to that 95% of the brain that makes the, like, emotional choice better than most other people.
Yeah, he definitely, he's all about appealing to lizard men.
Yeah.
So It's funny because I was having a conversation with Caleb Jennings. You know Caleb?
Yep.
So we were talking yesterday, and Caleb recommended a book which is kind of almost the opposite approach, which is the Rational Animal.
Okay.
I haven't read it yet, but what he was saying was very interesting, that a lot of the things that we think are irrational, if you understand the what's called the sub-self, kind of the different sub-selves, it taps into that, so the neuromarketing, what we're really studying is just human nature.
Yep.
And I mean, neuromarketing or understanding, lizard man or psychology or NLP are just all different ways to understand human nature. And I think, that's the main thing we just need to become masters of.
Yeah, and then somehow communicate that via word.
Right.
Yeah.
I think I'm going to go back to a big marketing piece. And I don't know if you know that, but know this, but we're the marketers for Elliot Hulse. So I don't know if you know Elliot, but
no. Okay, I'll look him up.
He's one of the top guys on YouTube. He's almost got 1 million followers. And when I'm seeing, and again, I've seen this evolution in online, is that it's just becoming super competitive, right? And it's like copy in a lot of ways is becoming less and less important. I mean, don't get me wrong, it's always going to be important. It always is. But what I mean by that is that it's, who the person is, the personality, the connection and the rapport is far more important. I've seen this because, even in the music, instructional music space, we've done over 42 products with dozens of guys, and the charisma of the personality and their ability to connect with people is the biggest conversion rate booster. Like I'm talking 3 to 10x.
Wow.
Yeah. So we got guys that are better players that will sell literally 3 to 10 times less than a guy who's maybe not as good a player, but is a better teacher and is more charismatic and people just like more.
Yeah. That makes sense.
Yeah. So that's really, again, one of the keys, if you will, to, I think, crushing it, depending what your business model is, but, finding the right people. So we're just getting more and more particular about who we work with, because it's like, I'd rather, for the lack of a better expression, club baby seals than go fight Mike Tyson for 12 rounds. Right? And having the right personality to do that with is that's the X factor.
That sounds like a viral Nova headline.
I'm going to share a couple of docs with you, by the way, that are very useful. So this is something I created, and I call them power filters. And it's just a good, because you know what, great copy is just a shitload of fucking editing.
Yeah.
I learned from Gary Bensavenga, and his process was, it's like 30 to 40% research, 10 to 20% writing, and then 30 to 40% editing. And so the research is huge too, right? So we can talk about that phase, which is, I call it building a massive neural net. And I think ultimately that's the biggest edge anybody can have, is to know more about the market than the next guy.
Yeah.
So I have processes to kind of just go incredibly deep and build a massive neural net ASAP, and especially if it's a new niche. Obviously, if I'm already an expert, I don't need to go through that process. but it's still powerful, and a lot of it's really looking at the competition, seeing what everybody else is doing, not to copy them, but to understand, where are the holes in the niche, where's the opportunities in the market, where's the ladder I can create that nobody else is climbed on yet. And once I've done that process, and also I understand the product is the next piece of that research, understanding the product I'm promoting better than anyone else. Eugene Schwartz used to read a book 4 times before he started writing the copy for it.
Wow.
And he wrote almost he would write so many bullets that it was almost the same size as the book. That's the level of research, if you will, that I think the best copywriters do.
Yeah.
Is just, and that's where people get lazy. Most people just get lazy. They just look at the product. Okay, let's write some copy. But there's no bigger edge than entering the conversation that's already happening in their minds. And at this point, the internet marketing or any market online is too evolved. They've already seen probably 10 offers, and they've probably already bought 3 or 5 offers before they hit any of our sites. So you have to factor that in. And if you don't, it's like you're just not going to connect with people the same way as the guy who does that process. So I think researching super deep, long and hard, and really knowing where the pain points are and talking to that is a huge is the ultimate edge.
Yeah.
And then the writing process. Are you familiar with Craig Clemens' formula?
No.
Here, I'll paste that for you. So Craig was a buddy of mine, and he was Evan Pagan's copywriter. So for Double Your Dating, he wrote a lot of their controls.
Okay.
So one of the things, so we're kind of getting to the next phase now, which is the second phase, if you will, the writing phase.
Okay.
So he would do a couple of things, like he would 12 questions. He would ask, he would interview the product creator, if you will, or the talent, and then come up with good answers to these 12 questions. And then you can basically take those answers and follow the 18-piece copywriting formula and assemble it into a really good letter, which is the template that they would use. So, and then the third phase is the editing phase, which I gave you the filters for that we use to really cut out the crap. Ideally, you're going to, let's say, type out 12 to 16 pages, and you edit that down to 6 to 8, just fucking killer copy.
Yeah. And when you're doing that, I mean, I'll look through the edit notes, but when you're doing that, you're pretty much, because like the process that I've noticed I go through is when you write originally, it's more of like a brain dump. You're kind of putting a lot of stuff out there. You somehow, when you get to the end, you start seeing that there's this like one major point or thread that you want to tie through the whole thing. You go through again, and now with that goggle, you kind of like, and it seems to me like it's almost like getting rid of leaves on the lawn. It's just like emptying what's unnecessary so that you're left with just like the essence. Is that? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I always want to cut out everything that's unnecessary, and I also want to say things in the least number of words possible.
Yeah.
I mean, here's the list of the edits. So the flow, the logic flow edit is big. So this is something that Clayton Makepeace talks about, and that's, you always want to have, you almost want to start writing your letter with, okay, what's the logical points I'm going to hit? Okay, the U.S. dollar is going to the gutter. You have to protect yourself. Gold's historically been the best answer to that. Here's why I think gold price is going up. Here's how you can get some gold at whatever, right? So that's a logic flow for an example.
Yeah.
That's always a very important point to start with. The fat trimming edit, you always want to cut out entire sections. And we increased conversions on one of Elliot's letters by 50% just by taking out the whole intro of the letter. It was about maybe a page and a half.
Huh.
And that's one of the things you want to split test is actually removing big chunks of copy. Like, okay, here's a tangent or a topic. Let's see what's going to happen if we take that out. And a lot of times just it cranks conversions, which it did there. So, and Carlton Carlton was pretty much my main mentor when I got started. And before you got better known, I had him rip apart all my letters. And, he would basically, as a default, say, whatever the first page and a half of copy you wrote, just fucking throw that in the garbage. Your sales letter starts on page 2 or page 3. So, and that's obviously the editing part. The next edit I do is like the you edit, right? Always you don't want your sales letter to be self-centered.
Yeah.
You want it to be about them, their problems, their needs. But it was interesting because I was with Dean Jackson on the weekend.
Yep, I saw that.
And he was talking about 3 perspectives, which is, there's shining the light on me, which is the worst, shining the light on them, or they're shining the light on the problem, which he says is the most powerful perspective. So, again, these edits were my earlier processes, so I might have to change that a little bit. Great edit to do, and this is stuff that if you did the research phase is very powerful, and here's a great exercise. Like, let's say I would go into the gun niche, how to, shoot guns, or I did this back in the day. I wrote a lot of copy because I was in the street fighting niche or whatever, self-defense niche. So you go to the magazine store and you buy every magazine in the market, and I would literally go through the magazines and circle all the power words or expressions or interesting phraseology.
Uh-huh.
I would put that in the doc. And just recently, I'm working with financial publishing as a newsletter as a consultant. And the consultant, the guy who's the head of marketing, he did 73 pages of that exercise.
Wow.
I was blown. That blew me away. Usually like maybe 5 to 10 pages, but he had 73 pages of like expressions or ways to describe the product or ways to describe the market. I mean, just cool expressions. And what I do with the niche word edit is I go through the copy and I just start kind of inserting that stuff in there. Because, again, it's entering the conversation that's already happening in their minds.
Yeah.
Forums is another great place because you're literally seeing how people speak in a forum for that market.
Yeah.
Which, I'm going to go off into another big market perspective, which is really just become a fucking master of 1 or 2 markets.
Yeah.
That's where I'm going. And as I started, I did a lot of markets, and I've had a lot of opportunities, and I'm sure as you do as well. Once people know you're a good marketer, just opportunities come nonstop.
Yeah.
But I'm just, I say no to 90% because they don't fall into the couple of things that, I want to become world class at. And again, it's like if I know my market better than everyone else or most people, that's my edge. And it's very hard to do that with more than maybe 2 markets.
It's also a lot of brain like bandwidth. I mean, to do all that research. Like,
burner, yeah.
Yeah, it's like if you're already good. Frank Kern always said this. He's like, why would I train people on anything other than what comes super, super easy to me and I can do in my sleep?
Right.
He's like, anything else is just headache. Yeah.
So that's another important factor.
Mm-hmm.
The subhead edits. So obviously, again, if it's text, the subheads will have an influence. Obviously, so the purpose of a subhead is always to suck them into the copy.
Yeah.
So it's, think of every subhead as you want them to be killer headlines.
Yeah.
Every single one of them.
And are you doing the thing whereby you kind of separate? Like, one of the things that we've tried to focus on right now is because we're realizing most people don't read, right? They'll like kind of do the skim through.
Right.
And so I don't know if you've noticed, but like the new age websites, like if you go to like an Apple or a Samsung or like some of the even Coin. Yeah. It's basically everything is like headline with very little text, and then so like if someone's scrolling, the sub headlines are really, really large fonts or like smushed up.
Well, they're actually doing something else which is brilliant. And it's funny you mentioned this because Andrew and I have been working on this new style, so I can't tell you that it's better, but we're going to test it really, really soon. But the thing I love the most about, for example, the iPhone 5S page, is the design is one piece, and there's a big graphic with the headline and some bullets. But here, the thing that I'm excited to test is that people cannot scroll all the way down in one shot.
Yes.
It forces them to look at every section for about 1.2, 1.3 seconds.
Exactly.
And that little delay, because always remember this, and this is true. I've tested this dozens of times. If you don't force people to go through enough copy, your conversion rate will be lower. So, and here's a perfect example of that. And I've talked to a lot of salesmen, like classic salesmen, or even classic copywriters. I have some buddies, and they all told me at one point, like, I don't get these fucking websites. Where's the call to actions?
Yeah.
And a lot of people do the mistake. It's a mistake because, I've tested it dozens of times, and I've never found this to work. To put too many call to actions, first of all, is a massive drop, usually. Also, putting the call to action too early, massive drop, usually. And putting the call to action all the way down on the bottom, usually is a drop as well. The one thing that works, or has worked at least 90% plus of the time, is to put the call to action, obviously, maybe 3/4 of the way down. And just to put one of them. Because, and again, maybe two of them would be better, but the idea, and I think the reason that it works, and again, this is not theory, I'm telling you the data.
Yeah.
That's what works. And I think the reason why is because unless you're selling an iPhone 5S where people are fucking gonna buy it no matter what you show them.
Yep.
Right? Which is, that's one of the reasons why Apple doesn't need an 8-page sales letter. People are already sold. They're just looking to hear maybe the updated features and see it and know what the new benefits of the latest model are.
Yeah.
But they're already sold. They're already 90% of the way there. They just need the last 10. So we can't compare, selling an information product to those guys.
Yes.
It's just incomparable. And I think that's where a lot of people that study big brands go wrong, is people don't understand that, first of all, if I'm in the TV market, I don't need to be sold why a 4K 65-inch TV is great, right? There's a great thing called market awareness, and this is there's two big things to be aware of, and Eugene Schwartz broke this down better than anyone else. And if you read the book Breakthrough Advertising, which I think is one of the greatest marketing books of all time.
Awesome.
I mean, every single person should read this book probably 10 times.
Okay.
And I've only read it 3 or 4, so I need to read it.
And this is Eugene Schwartz, you said?
Yeah, Eugene Schwartz.
Okay, awesome.
This is one of the best marketing books of all time. And again, Eugene Schwartz was, until maybe Gary Bencivenga came along, the best copywriter of all time. He had more controls, and if you read some of his old copy, it's just classic. A lot of stuff you just couldn't say now because of the claim FTC problems. But anyways, there's two big marketing factors to look at. So again, I'm talking about marketing. The one is the 5 levels of a market. So level 1 is you just make a claim. Any claim will do. So imagine like 80, 90 years ago, Kellogg's cereal would say, yeah, just lose weight. Eat our cereal and lose weight. Use this. They wouldn't even say use this device. They'd just say buy this product and lose weight. So that was level 1, and that was effective because of where the market was. But quickly, things will evolve to level 2. So level 2 is the angradization, or the expansion of the claim. So lose 20 pounds in 30 days. That's a level 2 market, which there's not a whole lot of those left either.
Yeah.
Level 3 now, and this is where obviously marketing becomes a lot more powerful, is a mechanism. So lose 20 pounds by using this supplement, is using green tea as your CPA offer says, is a mechanism, right? The green tea is a mechanism.
Okay.
So that's level 3, and obviously it's a lot more, because you're satisfying people's desire for justification, right? And also they want logic, so you're satisfying the left brain there. That's why the conversion obviously goes up. And then level 4 is the expansion of the mechanism. So let's say this is the ultimate green tea from the mountains of Japan, and the nuclear radiation from the nuclear plant meltdown has made this green tea 5 times more potent. So the radiation that you're going to be consuming is going to help you burn 5 times more fat, right?
Uh-huh.
So you're expanding the mechanism. You're making the mechanism. You're taking the mechanism to the next level.
Got it.
So if people are already aware of the effectiveness of green tea, and you say, and you can justify and prove, or at least make people believe that your green tea is better than the next guy because you have a better mechanism, then that's level 4.
Mm-hmm.
And level 5 is like where a lot of it is going. Is people don't even believe in mechanisms anymore, or very rarely. And I think the fitness market is starting to get there, and that's where you need, I call them keys to the back door. So, and one of the best examples is, for an example, connecting and building rapport by systematically educating and motivating them. That's where Elliot Hulse is, in my opinion, the best guy in the fitness space. Greg Plitt is very powerful as well. Greg Plitt?
Yeah. Yeah,
Greg is just so, obviously his physique speaks for itself. But there's a lot of guys with great physiques.
Yeah.
And, Greg's secret sauce is his ability to fucking get you pumped up, right?
Well, he's also polarizing personality. He's like, you're not going to be gray on Greg. You either love him or you hate him.
Sure.
So that's a good quality for someone from a marketing standpoint.
Right. So yeah. Anyways, at level 5, I think, and again, it's where, in my opinion, all markets are getting to or at. You need to, the cycle takes longer. It's hard. Like, you have to build credibility and positioning as well, with the personality. And so the product and the mechanisms are not enough.
Yeah.
Overwhelming proof is another key to the kingdom. Think back to Body for Life that had 1 million testimonials or whatever they had. That was, it's like, okay, you can't deny it, right? It's undeniable proof that works. So it's another key to the back door.
Mm-hmm.
Another great one, and Greg satisfies this a little bit, and this is something a lot of people don't think about or aware of. Matt Fury?
That name sounds really familiar.
Well, Matt Fury was the fucking king for a long time, and I mean, he was pulling in 8 figures a year in the self-defense fitness space.
Okay.
Combat conditioning, which was his flagship product.
Okay.
And I really think he's one of the best email writers of all time. If you want to just become a better email writer, subscribe to his shit and just swipe it. He's one of the best of the best. And he's got a couple of email marketing courses. If you can find them, fucking buy them. Don't even no, because he stopped selling a lot of them.
Okay.
He just, now he's the Zen master. He's completely reframed himself and rebranded himself. I think he's just got enough money. He's just like, hey, I'm going to be the Zen master now. But one of the, I was at a bar with him one night. He was a little bit drunk, and he's like, people don't understand. I'll try to speak like Matt Fury. People don't understand really what people really want, and that's emotional release. Which, if you look at, Rush Limbaugh and Drinking with Bob, by the way, go watch Drinking with Bob on YouTube. All these guys, and even Greg Plitt and Elliot Hulse to a certain extent, they're giving people massive emotional release, which means that they're helping people feel what they really want to feel. They're expressing anger, so the readers are getting angry with them, and that's giving them some fucking juice, right? People want to feel that juice. There's literally neurotransmitters getting created in their bodies that are making them feel good, right? Or feel, there's a satisfaction to that anger, especially if you like feeling angry, right?
Yeah.
What the bleep do we know does a great job at explaining that. You ever watched that?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Yeah. So, anyways, I'm off on some tangents, but that's level 5. Now, going to another thing you need to be aware of is kind of let's call it product solution awareness. So level 1 is like, people don't even know they have a problem. Obviously, we won't sell anything to these people, right? Level 2 is people know they've got a problem. Okay, I need better communication. Let's use phone for an example. Telephone. So, level 1 is like, I'm living in the jungle with a landline, and I'm not aware that cell phones even exist, right?
Okay.
So I don't know I have a problem. Level 2 is I go to the city and I see, wow, all these people have cell phones. So I know that there's a better communication technology that's going to help me. So that's level 2. They know they have a problem. So then they go to level 3, which is, okay, what's the best cell phone? So they start doing research on cell phones. And, cell phones, okay, so now they do research and they think that the iPhone's the best. Okay, so now they go to level 4. And at level 4 is like, okay, I want to know what the best iPhone is. Okay, it's the 5S. So they start doing that research. And at level 5 is they're evangelists. They own the iPhone 5S and they absolutely think it's the greatest thing, and they talk about it. So those are kind of the 5 levels, and that's why you can't look at brand, the big brands and say, well, fuck, like look at these guys. They have, 100 words of copy and they're making $100 million a day.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't make, you can't do that, right? Because the people that are hitting that site are at level 4 and 5 of that product solution awareness. But by default, almost any supplement or any info product, people are at level 2 or maybe a level 3. So you have to, they're just aware that, okay, I want to learn internet marketing. So unless they have seen you speak or seen, let's take Frank Kern, who's kind of maybe the top guy in the market in terms of people seeing him as the preeminent authority. The rest of us have to, really speak to them at that level 2 stage of product solution awareness.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Absolutely. Is a lot of that predicated also on your traffic source? Because like when we look at traffic, I can bring people, so like from a Google AdWords perspective, right? Like you can go after the big ass keywords, or you can hone in on like the different levels, and based on what people would search, you're going to know kind of at what stage they are. Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely. Well, that's a whole other, let's go on that tangent, which is the conversion. Traffic is literally the quality or the pre-frame, or, a great example is affiliate traffic versus cold traffic, right? You can't lose with affiliate traffic. Literally, you can have a crappy offer that will absolutely bomb on cold traffic and get a 1% conversion with affiliate traffic. I've seen it. And always affiliate traffic converts at 2x to 3x what cold traffic will.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
And the same thing applies to keywords, absolutely. Like every keyword implies a certain intent and psychology, and that psychology intent, kind of tells you what level they're at. If I go search, weight loss product, right? I mean, I'm kind of at level 2.
Yeah.
If I type in, green tea extract capsule, then I already believe that green tea is a solution. I'm just looking for the best green tea product. So, you understand?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what I was saying. So, like, if I'm creating copy, I mean, you can create copy that's congruent to wherever they are in the level, but like to put kind of like level 1, which is like, I think the example you shared is like eat this cereal and lose weight. Like if I put that kind of stuff about green tea coffee, and it's very basic information, if I put that in front of someone looking for a weight loss supplement or like some way to lose weight, then that's going to make sense to them. But if someone typed in, like you said, like green tea extract, and they read that copy, they're like, I'm already past this. And then I would need to put in front of them more of like what you said, which is like this radiation, Japanese green tea, blah, blah, blah. Like that's the stuff that they're going to be like, fuck, that's perfect, right? So you have to kind of create the copy knowing who you're going to put it in front of, right? Like you can't, it's not one copy fits all, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah, absolutely. And we've been doing more and more split testing with that in mind. And what's wild is literally the inverse of what's working with cold traffic kills it. Or, when I say kill, I should say just destroys the conversions. With affiliate traffic, it drops them significantly. And what works with warm traffic is a bomb with cold traffic. It's literally the inverse. I'm seeing that. I've seen that a few times, like complete polar opposites. So a great example of that. And yes, I think ultimately, if you have a way to separate the traffic based on their level of product solution awareness and create copy that satisfies exactly where they're at, obviously you're going to have a better, higher conversion.
I never, till we just had this conversation, like, I get that makes sense, but I never thought to actually create copy for where people are.
Yeah. I'm just starting to do more and more of this. So, it's really fascinating.
Huh. Yeah, because it's usually like if we create a product, then it's like a copy for everything. And then I just hope that people see what they need to see. But it's actually not that much harder to have a different conversation with them. Even like now that you can segment via email and all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, what we do a lot is segment on the opt-in page.
Yep, that's what we're doing now too.
Right, you segment right away, and then you can almost, you're based on a question or a combination of questions, segment them based on your level and also what they really want to do or learn or get, right?
And then your email copy, like whatever bucket you're dropping them into, you're having a different conversation with them, right?
Correct.
Okay. Yeah, that's what we're doing. We're doing it more on a high level because a lot of people come to us either to like help them start a business online, Facebook marketing, or launch like their own products. And so those are kind of the three buckets. But we're not segmenting past that yet, but this is giving me some good ideas.
Yeah.
Awesome.
So, just to quickly go through the rest of the edits there, we have just a few minutes left. One of the best things I learned, and again, Gary Halbert really drove this home. One time he read an entire newsletter to me on the phone, is the read out loud edit. Like, that's one of the things I think a lot of people do not do.
Mm-hmm.
And, the filter you always want to use for editing copy on top of all these is Cuba, which is confusing, unbelievable, just typing it up here, boring, or awkward. So if any of your copies, any of those four things, you have to either cut it or fix it, right? And there's no better way to find that than to read it out loud, especially the awkward, like where you're reading a sentence and you just kind of stumble and get stuck, or it's like you can't finish the sentence without kind of rereading it 2 times.
Yep, exactly.
That's awkward, right?
Awesome.
As far as like boring, you always have to yourself like, who cares? Does the person I'm really going after care about this? Like whatever I'm writing here.
Mm-hmm.
And boringness is always the death of copy, because usually people will literally stop reading right away. And confusing is another conversion killer. So those are the 4 things that throughout your copy you're always looking for. The grammar edit, it's an interesting point. Like, is it do typos and weird? Like, I'm a big believer in writing how you speak. I think that's the most powerful way to communicate.
Yeah.
Most of the time, I mean, maybe corporate stuff is not that way. So, and Ted Nicholas back in the day said that he had like 5 or 6 typos in his ad, and he tested removing them, and it dropped conversions. Now, I don't know if that was a fluke or not, but just something to kind of keep in mind.
It's so funny. We have sometimes people, there's just those anal people that see a mistake. Like I have my best friend's one of them. and in their world, they're like, this person's not professional, and they're out. And then
there's a lot of people that are like that, dude. I've had people, read like a 20-page report that was just filled with killer content, and they're like, yeah, it's because I said there is instead of there. They're like, I'm not buying this.
Exactly. And I'm like, first of all, you're not my customer. We're clear. Like, I'm not attached, whatever. But it's like so funny to me that then there's the other side of it, which is what I think, this guy found out. Like, it makes it more, you can connect more with people because they're like, oh, this is still good content. He wasn't focused on like, that it had to be this spelling or that word, and it makes them feel like, oh, he's one of us type of thing. So I think it plays both ways.
Yeah. Well, I think I'd rather connect with people on the niche word level than trying to connect with them with just bad grammar in English.
Yes, exactly.
Right.
And like I said, they're not my customers anyway.
One last thing
Sure.
to really hit, because I think it's a big one. I think metaphors, there's, like I says here, the idiom, simile, metaphor, quote, edit. And I've evolved that to the drunk turtle metaphors, which we've tested, and it seems to boost conversions. So one of the pieces of copy that we literally it was kind of like, okay, I think I've got an idea on what's going to increase conversions. And it's coming up with a metaphor to illustrate a point, but then tweak it in a way that's a little bit unusual and funny. Not trying to say a joke, but just come up with a metaphor that's a little bit unusual. So, slower than a turtle is a classic kind of visual or metaphor, if you will. And people get it, right?
Yeah.
It's a good way to say things are slow.
Yeah.
But, I'm like, why don't we try testing slower than a drunk turtle? And we tested just that piece of copy, and it wasn't even on the top. It was, maybe on page 2 somewhere. And it was like a 20% bump,
Wow.
And I'm like, and I really thought it would actually increase conversions, because anytime you can get people to giggle and like, oh, that's cute, or it's funny, or it's, even getting them to smile, I think it's going to increase conversions. But again, I didn't try to say a joke. I just used the metaphor and added an unusual twist to make it a little bit funny, right? Or a little bit unusual.
Yeah, kind of like what comedians do.
Right. So I'm trying to do that in all my copy, at least, 2 or 3 times. I don't try to go too crazy with it, but that's a good one. And another really good one too, which seems to increase conversions, is the spiritual power edit. So using biblical words, or, it was like a stairway, one of the pieces of copy, it was like a stairway to heaven, came down. Stuff like that is because there's so much there, there's so much power there for a lot of people. I'm not a religious guy.
Yeah, neither am I.
I'm a spiritual man, but, using even just religious metaphors, if you will, for a lot of people are really going to hit home. So depends on the product, depends on the market, but it's another really great edit to look at. So
that's brilliant. Because I'm not in that world, it doesn't even occur to me like that's something to do. But that makes a lot of sense, because I know a lot of people that's their lives.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, that was amazing.